I understand everybody want me to be the target. I understand everybody want me to be the bad guy for everything that goes on in the village, but that's not the truth.
So there you have it. Super Mayor, one of our all-time favorite characters on this channel. She's someone who, thanks to your love for Super Mayor content, has practically funded many meals and even a big part of my wedding. And now she's setting the record straight. She insists she's not responsible for the outrageous spending that's been making headlines. On top of that, she's pushing back against those who paint her as hood, ratchet, or an absolute clown, especially after she jumped into that brawl at the Thornton Township meeting. If you missed that chaos, check out my Super Mayor playlist, linked in the description and in the iCard. According to her, the critics have it all wrong. She wasn't just causing a scene. She was defending her man because, in her words, his life was literally in danger. And let's be real, in her mind, she's not just a leader. She's a superhero. A true woman of the people. Everything she does, it's all for them.
But everything we do for the people. But we under attack. We getting scrutinized in the media. For what? Loving on the people? Showing them that they matter to us? We going through the fires for y'all. We, us, me and my administration.
And for all the haters out there, you just need to sit down and shut up because Super Mayor isn't going anywhere. She's running for re-election, and that's exactly what we're diving into today. She's standing strong, insisting she did nothing wrong, blaming everyone else for her problems and doubling down on the chaos. And honestly, are we even surprised? This is exactly what we expect from her at this point. But before we get into all that, a quick reminder. DebateCon 5 is happening on February 15th and 16th, and I'll be debating on iCard Sunday, the 16th. If you can make it, I'd love to see you there. The link to tickets is at the top of the description, and the event is happening in New York, New Jersey.
As opponents called for the mayor of Dalton to resign, she is defending herself tonight. Tiffany Henyard says she is staying put and running for re-election. Henyard says if she wins, she will choose employees much more carefully.
Let's get one thing 100% clear. The brawl we covered previously had nothing to do with her role as mayor of Dalton. That fight was tied to her position as head of the Thornton Township Board of Supervisors, a role she didn't win in an election but was appointed to after the previous supervisor passed away. She landed that position because the board thought she'd be a great choice, young, black, and politically active. But more importantly, that's where the bulk of her money comes from, with a salary of around $225,000. Now, here's where things get even messier. Her boyfriend, who was also working in government, was caught in Nauru stealing money and put on leave during the same meeting that ultimately led to the infamous brawl. That's also where she was kicked off the ballot for the Democratic Party nomination. If she wants to stay in her Thornton Township position, she now has to win as a write-in candidate, which is an uphill battle. Now let's shift back to Dalton, where she was actually elected as mayor. This is the place where she originally won, but the people launched a recall campaign to vote her out. That recall was successful, but a judge later invalidated it, allowing her to stay in office. Ever since, the people of Dalton have been fighting tooth and nail to remove her. Why? Because she's an anomaly. In the worst way. Dalton has always had black leadership, but previous administrations managed to leave behind a $2 million surplus. Under Henyard's leadership, according to the Wamwera in Lightfoot report, that surplus is gone. And Dalton is now over $3 million in deficit. A shocking number for a village of just 20,000 people. So, to be clear, we're talking about Dalton, where Henyard insists she's not going anywhere and has officially announced she's running for re-election.
Dalton has had nothing to say in person about the investigation into village finances until today.
I understand everybody want me to be the target. I understand everybody want me to be the bad guy for everything that goes on in the village, but that's not the truth.
Tiffany Henyard met with us and her attorney to comment on the report. They say Henyard released a statement Tuesday, but it didn't get much attention. Henyard says she's being blamed for the actions of others.
You're the boss.
Do everybody know what their employees do? No.
Does everyone always know what their employees are doing? Absolutely not. And I have to say, I loved this defense from Super Mayor, because she's basically arguing that she isn't responsible for the very people she handpicked, put in power, and repeatedly shielded from scrutiny as they carried out her agenda. Her message? Elect me again, and next time I'll choose better people. Now, there's a familiar playbook here, one we've seen before with the easier second-term Trump will be different argument. But let's be real. Tiffany Henyard's administration didn't just happen to go off the rails. Her agenda was always part of the problem. The lavish travel expenses, perks, and questionable spending all directly benefited her. And if there was any doubt about that, the Lightfoot report laid it to rest. For example, the report revealed that Henyard signed off on checks requiring 2 signatures with just her own. One of those checks? Of a $500,000 plus payment for something the Board of Supervisors had explicitly voted against. So while she tries to deflect blame, saying her employees were just acting on their own, the reality is clear. In a meeting after meeting, we've watched Henyard defend her staff, going as far as to say that they're off limits to criticism. Because according to her, only elected officials should be able to call each other out. In other words, she's telling Dalton residents, I had full control before, but trust me, next time will be different.
I ever tell them that they was told what to say, because they don't. They got minds of themselves. And they all educated up here. All of them got degrees. Stop it. Stop with the disrespect. We're going to end that right now. Stop. We elected, not them. So don't bring them in our fight because you guys got to bicker with me. When y'all want to fight, I told you, you meet me at the polls. That's it. All this right here, this ain't what we're supposed to do. Because at the end of the day, we're supposed to make sure we what? Take care of the business for the village. So the village runs smooth. So we ain't got no issue.
But of course, when it suits her, she has no problem bending, twisting, and completely contradicting that stance to serve her own interests.
But do you feel responsibility because they were your employees?
I feel responsibility to tell the truth, and that's what I'm doing.
So I absolutely love that the super mayor has repeatedly declared herself the boss, the one in charge, the person who makes all the decisions. She's insisted time and time again that the buck stops with her, that she alone is doing the work, and that she is the savior of the village of Dalton. Yet when things go wrong, suddenly, it's everyone else's fault.
And y'all talking about people laughing at us. Yeah, they laughing at us. You think it's just Tiffany Henyard? No. Us. A group, a team. The board of trustees included. Us. We. Wake up. Stop following blind. I keep telling y'all that. Educate yourself. Learn. Learn. But y'all won't. Everybody want to earn, but don't want to learn. Get a clue.
And then, when a reporter asked her if she felt any responsibility for the people she hired and what they did in their roles, she simply shrugged it off, saying, I only have a responsibility to tell the truth. And according to her, the Ains, truth is that she did nothing wrong. She's completely innocent. She's the super mayor and she wants your vote again. She insists she won't burn through all the village's money this time, that she'll hire better people and that they'll magically fix everything. But let's not forget, she actively hid financial records from Freedom of Information Act requests, refused to disclose finances to the Board of Supervisors, and all of this was done under her direct orders. Now, she wants to claim that her employees were simply acting out of control and she had no idea? People had been warning her for 3 years. If this were just 1 or 2 bad employees, she could have removed them long ago. But she didn't, because it's not just a few bad hires. It's a terrible mayor leading a corrupt administration. And just to drive the point home, I'm going to play the clip of the infamous Tahoe again, because it's absolutely insane that this woman is leasing a $9,000 Chevy Tahoe for $150,000, over $55,000 more than its actual price. This level of financial mismanagement is beyond belief.
I sat here and looked at a lease that y'all was paying $149,000 for one of them trucks. You make absolute, that's like when you 19 years old and you go get a car and the interest rate 27%. That makes absolutely no sense. You're
Please
not making
facts.
great finance, excuse me?
Please stay facts.
But let me tell you, here it is, dated December 27, 2022, the cash price of a 2023 Chevy Tahoe, $93,216.71. Interest and APR, $55,929.49. Total lease price, $149,146.20. Tell me if it's not facts, because your signature is all on it.
I don't see that.
And this is just one outrageous expense in the village of Dalton. It doesn't even begin to cover the infamous ice rink, the $500,000 check that legally required 2 signatures, but mysteriously only had the super mayor's, or the countless other reckless financial decisions she's made. From draining village funds to throwing lavish parties and concerts, the list of absurd spending under her leadership just keeps growing.
On Monday, former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot revealed expenses ballooned during Henyard's tenure that led to a deficit of $3.65 million at one point. Lightfoot reports anything over $5,000 needed trustee approval, but that protocol wasn't followed, and instead the village was paying off expenses from 6 different credit cards that included few receipts from places like Wayfair and Amazon, and over $40,000 for items for an ice skating rink. Henyard contends the expenses were approved and that she was not the one making purchases.
Put the responsibility where it goes. I understand everybody wants to be the mayor. It's not the mayor. It's people put in place.
This chart is perhaps the single most important piece of evidence I can present to my audience. Some people in the comments like to make sweeping generalizations, but let's set the record straight. Before the super mayor took office, Dalton had a $5.6 million surplus. And guess what? The town was still 90% black. It had a black mayor, and the board of supervisors was majority, if not entirely black at the time. The difference? Tiffany Henyard is an absolute outlier, a reckless force of chaos compared to the typical Democratic leadership the village previously had. That's why I have a ton of sympathy for the residents of Dalton. They saw the disaster unfolding almost immediately, organized a recall election, and tried to remove her. But an Illinois judge overturned the will of the people, siding with Henyard and invalidating the recall. Had that vote been upheld, Dalton could have returned to financial stability and responsible governance, rather than the fiscal nightmare it's now trapped in. And this is exactly why the Board of Supervisors is powerless to stop the madness. They've voted down her frivolous spending time and time again, yet Henyard charges it to the credit cards anyway, signs checks without authorization, and continues to drive the village deeper into financial ruin through sheer defiance.